Buenos a todos. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. Welcome to a community that is dedicated to providing spiritual tools for living a happy and full life. My name is Karina Shear and I am the spiritual director and founding minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. Today is Saturday, June 6th. And we are continuing with our annual theme, which is 2020 Spiritual Vision. The topic for this month of June is Mindfulness for Mavericks. And today's topic is Just Breathe. We open each week with a spiritual practice called affirmative prayer, also known as spiritual mind treatment. This is a powerful tool and a practical tool that shifts our consciousness so that we are open and available to accept the good that is already present in our life. It aligns our thoughts with all good. So let's move into today's service with intention, as we do each week, with a reading from the Creative Thought magazine. I'll be reading from June 6th, that's June 6, 2014. So spiritual mind treatment is always done in the first person. So I invite you to take these words as your own if you so choose. Ernest Holmes says, "If we wish to come to the Spirit for healing of our wounds, let us come in peace and with spontaneous joy." This treatment is from Reverend Marian Whiteman from Palm Desert, California. The breath of life. God is the breath, the life, and the essence of the inner soul center of each one of us. I affirm the loving, creative, healing presence of the living Spirit. I know by my nature that I am unified with the Creator and necessary to the outpouring of the universal source. As a channel for the expression of truth, I claim that this day is to climb out of fear and limitation and to celebrate the fullness of living. I speak my word into law that my joy is essential to the well-being of the universal whole. I renew my belief in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the soul forever and ever expanding. As the purpose unfolds, I am here to abide in its light. I am thankful that this affirmative prayer rises gently out of the love and a celebration of gratitude for the blessings that are mine. Guidance is at hand by means of my eternal connection to Spirit. Knowing this is my truth, I release my word and let go. And so it is. So let's review our purpose, vision, and mission statements. Our purpose is to awaken and celebrate diversity and to love and serve our community. Our vision is to educate and support each other so we can create the life that we desire that works for us right now. And this is supported by our mission, which is to provide spiritual tools for personal growth and transformation. So I'd like to let you all know that everyone is welcome here. It doesn't matter where you've come from, but please know that everyone is valued and welcome here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. We teach a philosophy called the Science of Mind, which is a teaching based on new thought and ancient wisdom. We offer spiritual tools and principles to promote personal growth. And we honor diversity in all aspects so that we can see and appreciate the great oneness that already exists everywhere and within everyone. Dr. Ernest Holmes founded this teaching in the 1920s when he studied both Eastern and Western spiritual texts to create the science of mind, which focuses on the individual use of thoughts and this powerful thing called the mind. Each week, we offer a service with an inspirational message. And normally this would be done at a restaurant in downtown Puerto Vallarta. But since we are still in isolation, I welcome you into my home via Zoom. We look forward to once again supporting our local mom and pop style restaurant, where we'll have time for discussion afterwards and to enjoy some home-style Mexican cooking. More information on this will be on our website, as well as directions and the location. So once we have started or have resumed social gathering, we will be returning to the restaurant. So if you have any questions or comments, you can either post them here online or email me directly, and I'll be sure to respond. June is usually Pride Month, but it's currently being overshadowed by the recent events in the United States. On May 25th, George Floyd, a 46-year-old African-American, had his life taken in a tragic incident where a white policeman had knelt on his neck for almost 9 minutes while he was handcuffed face down on the street, bleeding for air, stating that he couldn't breathe. So let's breathe together for George Floyd and for others that have been taken too soon from us, wrongfully. Let's stand up, claiming that this breath is the basic necessity of life and must not be taken from anyone ever again. Yes, all lives matter, but Black lives matter. Yet we truly can't say that all lives matter until we say Black lives matter. Enough is enough. We must say it, believe it, and act it. Black lives matter. It's time now for making this a world that truly works for everyone. I'd like to read for you a statement from the Centers for Spiritual Living from the Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee on Racism in the United States. Centers for Spiritual Living calls for it to end. We are grieving lives that ought not to have been lost. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery are the most recent in a name of countless unarmed African American and Black people who have been murdered for the color of their skin over the last 400 years in the US. Too many generations have suffered, and it has never been, and it is not now, acceptable. We denounce racism in all its forms, the starkness of unapologetic, intentional racism, the racism of silence in the face of injustice, the systematic racism inherent in our education, justice, income, and opportunity inequity, and the racism that lies hidden in our individual lives, in our individual hearts and minds. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors. We value a community-wide climate of safety that arises from compassion, justice, mutual respect, and kindness. Therefore, we join our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who, echoing the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., said, "You and I should form the habit of taking definite time each day to contemplate and affirm peace with justice, for there is no peace possible without justice, but faith without works is dead." We should not only pray, we should act, each contributing the best they have to the common purpose, each willing to make any sacrifice necessary. For there can be no individual self-preservation without the preservation of all. And this is quoted from Ernest Holmes' Spiritual Armament, found in the Essential Ernest Holmes, edited by Jesse Jennings. We call upon ourselves and the faith communities in the United States to take action that shows we have heard the cry of suffering and we own our responsibility for it. Whether that action is prayer, donations to organizations that promote racial justice, rigorous self-education, or active engagement. Let not this moment in history pass unattended. May the actions we take be steeped in peace and respect for the sacredness of each life, knowing that whatever we do, individually and collectively, must be divinely directed from a higher consciousness. When we apply our proven spiritual principles through rigorous practices and compassionate action, the desired results cannot fail to demonstrate. And I'd like to share two quotes from Dr. Ernest Holmes. From the essential works of Ernest Holmes, he said, "Anger and malice, revenge and animosity cannot breathe the same atmosphere as goodness and purity, and they will fall away as we climb to those heights where the indwelling spirit lives." And this quote is, from Thich Nhat Hanh, Stepping into Freedom, Rules of Monastic Practices for Novices. He said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." Last month, we discussed listening to our heart. This month, we will be focusing on mindfulness in our breath, our intentions, our speech, and our actions. Breathing is life. It is life sustaining itself with the ebb and flow of each inhalation and exhalation. Conscious breathing is also the method or technique that helps us to process, shift, and evolve our thoughts. The vocalist breathes in a particular way to give rise to the song. The pregnant mother is taught to breathe in a manner that aids in the process of childbirth. The meditator is invited to connect to their breath as a way of centering. We are told to breathe and count to 10 when we're feeling angry. When my children were young, I used to count to 10 often, more for me than for them, as a way to relax and not be angry or overreacting to a situation where they weren't listening to my request to do something or to refrain from doing something. And when we look at the story in Genesis where Rauch, the breath of God, made Adam a living soul, we see the reminder that spirit breathes itself as life. Breathing and the concept of breath are equally important for life and the idea of living life fully. When we breathe in a shallow manner, we are cheating the body of nutrients. So many times, the first answer in the midst of trauma and drama of the moment is just breathe. So let's take a deeper look with these 3 key points. First, breathing as a sign of life. Second, breathing as a sign of being out of balance. And thirdly, breathing as a tool or technique for change. So let's start with breathing as a sign of life. There's so much that we take for granted when we breathe. Let's revisit this by looking at the definition of breathing in Respiration 101. The biochemical process in which the cells of an organism obtain energy by combining oxygen and glucose, resulting in the release of carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. ATP is the currency of energy in cells. Respiration is a physical and biological demonstration of the law of circulation. Oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. There is a clear give and take reciprocal process that demonstrates how spirit engages with itself. Spirit shows, by way of breathing, a complex system of nurturing, feeding, and waste removal, which is occurring as an ongoing process. Remember that this process of inhalation is also called inspiration, and the exhalation is also called expiration. And when you say that someone has expired, what it means is that the person has expelled air for the last time. In other words, they have stopped breathing and have died. The word inspiration comes from the Latin inspirar, which means to breathe or blow into. And the root word is spirar. Interestingly enough, the word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, which also came from the same word spirar. So you see how the English word inspiration came to mean both the inhalation of breath and to be inspired or filled with spirit. Taking breath in is inspiration. With this inhalation, the universe inspires or breathes by means of us. So let's inspire people with our words and actions. Our second point is breathing as a sign of being out of balance. By way of our respiration breathing, we have an amazing tool of detection that can be a signpost to our state of mind and states of being. It is one of the easiest ways that we can check in on where we are emotionally. Suppose you're sitting in a traffic jam and you're late for a meeting. Your breathing becomes rapid in an attempt to quickly dissipate oxygen-rich blood to your body as a result of the stress you're feeling sitting in the traffic. When we are mindfully aware of how we are breathing at any given moment, we can immediately check in on such things as tension, anxiety, fears, worries, stress, trauma, etc. And like any early warning detection system, the goal, once the warning has been signaled, is to take action. Amit Ray, a mindfulness teacher and one of the pioneers of compassionate artificial intelligence movement, says this: if you want to conquer the anxiety of life, live in the moment, live in the breath. And finally, our third point, breathing as a tool or technique to change. Many practices involve some form of breath work. Women are taught to breathe in a specific way to facilitate childbirth. Martial artists are taught to breathe to increase power. Vocalists are taught a particular way to breathe to facilitate singing. Furniture movers and weightlifters breathe in a certain way also to increase strength. And we all basically know this, but because it is kind of like common sense, we may not take the time to notice how we are breathing on any given day when not engaged in any particular activities that require modified breathing. Yet, we are in fact engaged in a particular activity. It's called living. So why not be aware of how we are breathing and modify it daily for maximum health and well-being? We have options as to how we can modify our breathing. Some of them include meditation, mindfulness practices, and the classic counting to 10. But what of such things as laughter, humming, and chanting as ways to increase the flow and optimization of breath? When we change how we breathe, we change how we live. Ernest Holmes wrote this in the Ernest Holmes Papers, Ideas of Power. I seem to be missing a slide. Sorry about that. He says, the universe is self-existent, and God comes new and fresh in the perennial springtime of every moment, bursts forth from the timeless infinite into the present incident, carrying with the wonder, the majesty, and the might, and the warmth and color of the eternal self. Such is the nature of our being. Every day is a new beginning. Every day is the world made new. Today, start breathing intentionally as a spiritual practice, as a maverick, not just when meditating, but as a new default state of engaging in the law of circulation, the law of reciprocity, grounding, aligning, and being in the flow. How many people do you know that have regrets about how they breathed yesterday, last week, or last year? How many try to save breaths today for a rainy day? Yes, you can hold on to your breath, but you can't save it. Be aware of it and then let it go. So you see, the act of breathing can also engage us in the consciousness and practice of being aware and in the present moment of now. So let's just breathe in. And I'll leave you with this thought. Alan Rickman says, maverick is a word which appeals to me more than misfit. Maverick is active. Misfit is passive. So let's have a look at our affirmation for today. I breathe mindfully that I intend, speak, and act as a spiritual maverick, doing what is mine to do, manifesting a world that works for all. And now is our time of mindful giving and financial support for our spiritual home. We rely on your support to continue our center here in Puerto Vallarta so that we can continue offering you this powerful teaching of the science of mind. We bless the financial gifts that you give today. So at this time, we would normally pass the basket for donations. But now, while we are still attending via Zoom, donations can be gratefully given and received through PayPal on our website, which is www.cslpv.org. And if you would like to join me in our affirmations, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. And together we say, I do give eternal thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. So thank you for joining me today. Namaste. Please be mindful. Love everyone so that we can make this a world that truly works for everyone. I love you. I bless you.